This video demonstrates the installation process of the Solis S6 independent power supply enhanced single-phase low-voltage hybrid inverter. Caution: electrical equipment can only be installed and maintained by qualified electrical technicians. Please read the user manual before installation and check whether the accessories in the box are complete. Part 1. Preparation before installation. The inverter is heavy. Please pay attention to personal safety during handling and installation. Please install the inverter in a safe location that meets the requirements for easy ventilation and heat dissipation and avoid direct sunlight. When the inverter is running, there may be risk of high temperature and high voltage. Please install the inverter in a location that is not easily accessible. S6 Pro Energy Storage Inverter adopts a new screenless design, and you can operate the inverter through the Solace Cloud App. And you can display the operating status of the inverter through the light bar on the inverter. The PV interface connects photovoltaic modules. Input photovoltaic energy into the system. BAT plus and BAT minus interface the battery. COM1 through COM3 interface connects the battery communication cable, the CT wire, the parallel cable, and the generator communication cable. The COM port is to connect the data logger, so that the inverter operational information can be uploaded to the Solace Cloud platform. Antenna is connected to the antenna to enhance the Bluetooth signal. The gen interface is used to connect to the generator. The load is used to connect to the backup load. The grid is used to connect to the grid, and the generator can also be connected to the grid port through the automatic transfer switch. Part 2. Install the backplate. Appropriate space should be reserved around the installation location of the inverter. Use a level ruler to ensure collimation level and determine the installation position of the backplate. Mark the punch points with a marker and punch holes with a hammer drill at the marked points. Insert the expansion bolts in the accessory into the 4 punched holes aligned to the exposed screws and install the backplate in the correct. Fix the backplate onto the wall using gaskets and nuts. Tighten the bolts. Fix the 4 corners of the backplate in the same way. The backplate installation is complete. Part 3. Mount the inverter. Align the inverter with the hooks on the mounting plate and hang it. Screw the fixing screws included in the accessory bags into the fixing holes. The inverter installation is complete. Part 4. Grounding cable connection. Connect the grounding wire crimped with OT terminal to the ground point on the side of the inverter. Part 5. DC side connection. When the solar module is exposed to the sun, high voltage will appear on the DC wire. Do not touch the DC wire. Before connecting the inverter, please ensure that the open circuit voltage of the photovoltaic string does not exceed the limit of the inverter. Solar modules connected to the same MPPT must have the same specification, the same orientation, and the same inclination. When you hear a click sound, it indicates that the connection is fastened. Part 6. Battery connection. The compatible battery brands of this product are as follows: Pylon, BYD, etc. Please refer to the battery compatibility list on the Solis website for details. This installation will be using Pylon US 3000s. For battery installation, please refer to the battery manufacturer's instructions. Pass one end of the battery power cable through the bat at the bottom of the inverter and connect it to the corresponding port. The other end is connected to the battery. Part 7. AC side connection. Through the load side cabling through the load on the bottom of the inverter, Access the backup line, neutral, earth corresponding ports. Similarly, through the grid side cable through the bottom grid of the inverter and access the corresponding ports of the grid, line, neutral, and earth. Part 8. Communication connections. Thread the communication cable through the COM on the bottom of the inverter. One end is connected to the BMS port, and the other end is connected to the battery communication port. If only CT is connected, the communication wire passes through the COM on the bottom of the inverter. The other end is connected to the HM. And the other end is connected to the CT to place on the live wire. Close the protective cover and tighten the 4 screws. If you choose a Solis data logger, please connect it to the COM port at the bottom of the inverter. Connect the antenna to the antenna port at the bottom of the inverter. Part 9. Commissioning. Please visually check first to make sure all cables are connected properly. You can pull the cables lightly to confirm. Ensure that no high voltage conductors are energized. Check all conduit and cable connection points and ensure they are tight. Verify that all system components have adequate space for ventilation. Follow each cable to ensure that they are all terminated in the proper places. Close the battery switch and the AC circuit breaker. Close the DC switch. If the DC input voltage is greater than the startup voltage of the inverter will start. Part 10. Log into Solace Cloud App. You can download Solace Cloud App by scanning the QR code on the quick installation manual. Turn on the Bluetooth switch on your mobile phone and then open the Solace Cloud App. Click More Tools, Local Operation, and connect with Bluetooth. Select the Bluetooth signal from the inverter. If you are the installer, please select the account type as installer. If you are the plant owner, please select the account type as owner. Set your own initial password for control verification. First login must be finished by the installer in order to do the initial setup. Part 11. Quick settings. Set the inverter date and time. You can set to follow the time on your mobile phone. Set the battery model. If there is no battery connected for the moment, please select no battery to avoid alarms. It must be based on the battery model that is actually connected to the inverter. For lithium battery with communication, please select lithium LV. For lithium battery without communication, please select the 48 volt or 51.2 lithium battery without COM. The battery parameters have been set to the optimal value. You can set the battery capacity and charging or discharging current in the battery settings as required. For lead acid battery, please select lead acid. CT is used by default, and the CT ratio is default at 2000 to 1. Set the grid code. Please select the grid code according to the local country standard. Set the work mode. We recommend setting to self-use mode. This mode can maximize the use of PV power generation for household electricity, or store it in the batteries and use it for household electricity. If need, manually control the battery charging and discharging with respect to time. Please use the time of use switch in the following set points as required. The allow grid charging is recommended to be turned on. Backup mode can be opened in the self-use or feed-in priority mode, and you could set the reserve SOC. If grid power is lost, the battery will have the reserved SOC at the very least to carry the backup load through the outage.